It's 1986. George Lucas, the man who gave us Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, he decides his next big project is a Marvel superhero movie.
Sounds pretty promising.
Big budget, major studio, full Lucasfilm resources behind it.
All right, I'm still in.
The hero is a duck.
And I'm out.
A talking duck from outer space who lands in Cleveland.
Firmly out.
And falls in love with Leah Thompson.
Firmly grossed out.
And her band sings a song called Howard the Duck. I remember this song, okay? I will remember it until the day I die. Not fondly.
Okay, so is this really happening to us on this episode, and why?
Today, on the Hubbubbery, we're going back. Happy 40th anniversary, Howard the Duck.
You think he deserves an anniversary?
He might, and that's what we're here to figure out.
Welcome to the Hubbubbery. Onward and upward-ish.
Okay, so quick context, because nothing about this movie really makes sense without context.
That's not a great start, but, go ahead, provide your context.
Okay, well, Howard the Duck is the first theatrical Marvel movie ever made.
Was it really?
Yeah, first one. Not Iron Man, not Blade, not X-Men. Howard the Duck, 1986. First Marvel character to get a theatrical release since the Captain America serial from 1944.
Okay, so Howard the Duck is technically the father of the modern superhero movie, is what you're saying.
Technically and terrifyingly, yes. And here's the part that should be impossible.
Are you ready for an incredible story?
George Lucas produced this.
Yeah, the George Lucas.
Yeah, through Lucasfilm. The same company that gave us Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and so many others.
Yeah, I'm familiar with all of those. So this wasn't some random assignment either, right? He found that he'd been trying to make this movie since the mid-70s.
Why Howard the Duck specifically?
Well, my thoughts exactly. It turns out George was a huge comics fan in the 70s, and Howard the Duck was one of Marvel's most popular characters at the time, especially for him.
I did not know that Lucas was that deep into comics.
He just genuinely loved the character, thought it was very funny, and loved the absurdism.
And then he made a movie that was, not that. Not any of that. So here's what this movie is. Howard, he's a duck from a planet of ducks, living in, essentially, Duck, New York.
So then he gets sucked through a dimensional portal and lands in Cleveland, Ohio.
Right. Yeah, he lands in an alley and he meets Beverly, who's played by Leah Thompson. She's a rock musician, and then he becomes like her protector. Eventually, the villain, Dr. Jennings, gets possessed by a dark overlord of the universe and tries to bring more dark overlords to Earth.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, and Howard has to stop him using quack fu.
The movie calls it quack fu.
The movie calls it quack fu.
No one laughs at a master of quack fu.
Okay, let's keep going.
So, with all of that going for it, Lucasfilm, Marvel, beloved source character, how does this become one of the most legendary disasters in Hollywood history?
So that's a great question, and I went down a rabbit hole on this very concept here, and you might call it a duck hole.
Ugh, I don't think I will.
Yeah, well, that's fair. So the first thing you need to know is that this was never supposed to be a live-action movie.
They know I'm a phony. They know I'm a yo-yo.
The original plan was animation. Lucas and his collaborators, director William Hike and producer Gloria Katz, always envisioned this as an animated film. And Lucasfilm had a newly launched animation division that they could have made with it. More on that in a second.
So what happened?
So a contractual obligation with Universal. Everyone likes a good contractual obligation. Universal needed a big live-action film for summer 1986, and the contract required live action.
A job?
And this was against the explicit wishes of the director and producer.
So they were forced to make a movie they didn't want to make in a format that they didn't think was right for the material.
I'm a freak, an outcast.
It's so lifelike and realistic.
Bug off.
From day one. And then the animatronic duck happened.
Ah, yes, the duck.
Yeah, so Lucasfilm built an entire suite of animatronic suits. costumes, puppets, you name it. And on the very first day of shooting, the crew looked at the puppet and realized you could see the inside of its neck when its mouth opened. So they kept rebuilding it. Multiple ducks were built with the wrong proportions. Some of them literally exploded or lost feathers during filming.
Only two things touch my feathers: oil of nightfall and him.
Well, that's not something you recover from easily.
No, and I know that from experience.
You'd be a little pissed off too.
Anyway, so here's the detail that gets me. The voice of Howard, Chip Zien, recorded all of his dialogue after the movie had already been shot.
My continuing streak of bad luck?
Meanwhile, George Lucas was so excited that he threw a massive post-production party before the film was released.
Prepare to eat beak.
Festivities included a full circus.
Yeah, a circus. He was that confident. Sounds like a nightmare for you, though, Dan. Do you think it had clowns there? So anyway, then it opened to $5 million in its first weekend against a reported cost of $45 million.
Great duck in heaven. Is this the end of Howard?
But it won awards.
I'm getting good at this.
It's just that they were all Razzies. 7 of them.
That might be the only time that 7 isn't considered a lucky number.
If God intended us to fly, he wouldn't have taken away our wings.
Yeah, because of the financial failure of this film, Lucas was forced to raise money by selling his animation division.
You mean the one that was supposed to make the Howard animated movie?
The one and the same. And his buddy, Steve Jobs, bought it as a favor. And that little animation division would become Pixar Animation Studios.
So Howard the Duck basically gave us Pixar.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, I guess, maybe you might call it. So Toy Story exists because of a failed talking duck from Cleveland.
The circle of life, Hunter.
Sometimes I still get this feeling there's some kind of special destiny waiting for me.
All right, before we get into what the comic actually was, I have to admit, I actually had a couple of these when I was a kid.
So you had actual Howard the Duck comics?
I couldn't tell you which issues it was to save my life, but I do remember the experience of reading this being, I don't know, weird.
Yo, how weird.
I mean, it was a comic about a duck, so I expected duck stuff, slapstick, chases, whatever. And what I actually remember is a lot of dialogue, not much action.
So as a kid, I'm guessing that probably wasn't exactly what you were looking for?
Oh God, not remotely. I mean, I think I was mostly just confused by it.
Well, that makes sense once you hear about a man named Steve Gerber.
Yeah?
Yeah, so the original Howard the Duck comic was created by Steve Gerber. It was unique, remarkable for its time, but not remotely kid-friendly. Sharp social satire, film noir elements, real adult edge. Howard was mean, outspoken, politically biting. It's basically a vehicle for Gerber to skewer American culture through the eyes of an outsider.
So, essentially, I was reading an adult satire comic at age 8.
Yeah, well, you were getting cultured, you might say, but it probably explains why it didn't fully land for you.
Well, it also explains why there wasn't really a great deal of duck punching.
You got it.
Right, yeah, because Gerber wasn't really interested in a whole lot of duck punching, exactly. He was more interested in, everything else.
Yeah, well, and the movie turned him into a wry, duck pun-making family film protagonist. In Cleveland, with a rock band. It kept some of the adult elements in there, but it's sort of the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, not edgy enough to be edgy and not clean enough to be clean.
Exactly. And Steve Gerber, the creator, he told Starlog magazine at the time that he liked the script better than any other Howard the Duck script he had ever read.
Well, that is something.
And he later retracted it. Direct quote. As for my comments at the time about the film script, well, to put it bluntly, I lied.
That is brutal.
Can't believe this planet.
Now, the cast. Leah Thompson as Beverly. And yes, she does all of her own singing. Tim Robbins is a scientist named Phil Blumbert.
Blumbert.
Nice ducky. Me, Phil. You, Howard.
Blumbert.
Yeah.
A real character in this film, yes. Tim Robbins actually plays him with genuine comedic energy.
It's nothing! It's nothing! Never mind!
This is a very pre-Shawshank Tim Robbins. And then the villain, Dr. Jennings, who becomes possessed by the Dark Overlord.
I'm afraid I'm about to become something else.
is played by Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah, well, Jeffrey Jones.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And then there's
Howard, thank you.
played physically by Ed Gale, and 5 other performers in the suit, depending on, what the scene required. As we said, voiced by Chip Zien, Howard, he was a committee.
It takes a village, an expensive village.
And Leah Thompson, who, for what it's worth, is completely committed. And she's been saying as much for about 40 years.
I missed you.
She's been pitching Marvel on a new Howard movie for years, with herself as the director.
He's my boyfriend!
That's disgusting.
Really? Leah Thompson wants to direct a new Howard the Duck movie.
She pitched it. Marvel passed. But they told her they do have plans for the character.
Howard the Duck plans, everybody.
And if fate sent me here to save Earth, then Howard the Duck is ready to fight.
Maybe he could team up with Blade. I mean, what the duck?
Hey, you shut your blumbert. Dan! I think it's time to get our ducks in a row.
Yeah, already tried that and they flew away.
Then we'll just have to wing it.
That's usually how these things go.
Now, let's flock together into the Reactor! Okay, so we open on Duck World.
Which is exactly like Earth, but with ducks.
They committed to Duck World. If by committed you just slap the word duck in front of everything or use waterfowl humor.
Oh, magazines, music, movie posters, money, all duck themed. But hey, we got duck nipples, which actually look more like people nipples, but I have not been intimate enough to know the difference. When the puns run out, we immediately leave Duck World forever. You could say he got the duck out of there.
So, that's the duck.
That's the $2 million duck.
How many people are inside that thing?
Up to 6.
6 people to make one duck.
Yeah, and it still doesn't quite work. Quite the duck up, eh?
Of all the alleys in the world I could have fallen into that night, why did it have to be yours?
Oh, that's where that line comes from.
No.
Stow the whales, good all gorillas. I had a duck. I could have been a contender.
Oh, okay, that's definitely where that line comes from.
Still no.
Ooh. I don't like that. I don't like that. Can that stop, please? Next clip.
Yeah. No.
It's not doing anything.
Cops!
The whole ultralight aircraft. This is my big thing. Why was Howard flying this thing when Phil clearly had floated before?
Southwest, Howard! That way! Stay low!
They're like, well, just you fly it.
Get the duck up there. It makes no sense.
Oh man, he has a built-in proton gun.
Lucky.
Okay, I'll give this movie this. That transformation is genuinely unsettling. Kudos to the legendary Phil Tippett and Tom St. Amand on the tremendous stop-motion work.
Right? I mean, the third act, it's kind of weird in a way that actually works. For about 15 minutes, this is a different, stranger movie.
The Dark Overlords.
Are returning to the colon from whence they came.
Gross.
There it is.
Is this,
Yes, the Howard the Duck song.
We call him Howard.
I wrote a song called Howard the Duck, and Leah Thompson gets fully into it. She is really given that song.
It somehow makes this worse. Now, I've heard this song maybe twice in 40 years, and it never left my brain. It is emphatically not a compliment. I mean, ducking A.
No. Also, is that Howard the Duck or Marty McFly with the guitar solo?
Marty McDuck.
Oh. Okay.
Not bad for a duck from outer space.
You were great, Ducky.
You know, that was a movie, wasn't it?
It was a movie, and yeah, I mean, unlike other movies that we've talked about where it's like I can equate it to, well, I saw it in the drive-in, and, and somehow that made it better. I mean, this one was, I remember at the time of seeing it being like, I don't know. It felt very long.
Yeah.
And it is. It also, it seemed tonally, it kind of shifted back and forth. Like, I think this is a comedy, although it seems very adult, but then not.
Yeah.
The effects are great. And I do remember when I saw it in the theater thinking, wow, the special effects are actually pretty solid. And I guess that's just because George Lucas told the Lucasfilm guys and Phil Tippett and everybody else, yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's a good impression.
It's just my guess.
Yeah. What else can you say in George's voice? Can you do a Jar Jar Binks?
Well, George, his direction is famously faster, more intense.
So do you think if George actually directed Howard the Duck, it would have been better or worse?
This was a passion project.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what is sad about this is I think as an animated movie, it would have been pretty interesting to see. I think especially if it was a PG, well, at that time, did we have PG-13? Maybe. Yeah. PG-13 or R probably would have been more appropriate and probably would have worked better. The thing is, this movie is trying to appeal to a broader audience, and it shouldn't.
Yeah. No.
At all. I think it should just embrace what it is, which was an absurd movie about a semi-profane duck.
And going back to what you said, earlier about it shifting tones, it was strange. From what I remember before watching this movie and watching this movie for the show was the first time I had ever watched this movie. Although you said, I think this was the second time.
This is the second time I watched this movie since I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching it and being like,
yeah, that's impressive. You rewatch a lot of movies.
Oh, I rewatched so many movies.
And this is a Marvel movie, kind of.
I mean, I've watched, I don't know how many times I watched the Captain America 1979 made-for-TV movie.
Way too many, yeah. But that was an unusual thing. The tone, I think, from what I recall before watching it, I kind of remembered it being... Well, remember the idea of it, since I hadn't watched it, was that it was raunchy. And there were a couple points that were, but honestly, it wasn't as raunchy as I was anticipating it.
Right.
But it sure was a lot slower than I was anticipating it being. But once it gets to the diner scene, we haven't really talked much about that, but oh man, it just slows to a crawl.
I think I texted you when I was watching it because I was like, I feel like a third of this movie is just in this diner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they had editors and they edited up to the diner and then they said, I'm out. And then they just decided, I'm not doing this movie anymore.
And they just left whatever they filmed, they used.
Yeah.
The whole scene. And it is one of those, this is a movie where it's like, watching it again, it's like I could appreciate the production value of it.
Yeah.
I was like... and I mean that in the sense of like the effects are good. We talked about it. The stop motion animation's fantastic. It's really, really good. A lot of the rotoscoping and the animation, lighting effects and stuff like that, all good. Nothing about this movie looks cheap. And in fact, it's different than what we ran into, like when we watched, Masters of the Universe. See that here, or when we watched Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
See that there. I don't know if
I think it can only
be over there. Okay,
so you have to see it over there.
But when we watched those movies, both of those had the same problem, is that they ran out of money.
Right.
This one clearly did not run out of money. In fact, looks like plenty of money.
Yeah.
And I think that is partially because it was George Lucas's baby. It was a passion project, and Lucasfilm, I mean, he was like,
it's uncanny. Yeah, I agree. It's odd. But now, to be fair, we're ripping on it a little bit. There is a subset of fandom that really likes Howard the Duck, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look, that they just brought this out recently in 4K.
That says a lot.
And the roots, it does. And the roots of the character, I mean, the comic book itself, it's like if you could read the comic book is very, very funny. Yeah. Now, At the time, I was kind of like, I don't really, they do anything? And no,
you were too young,
it was
right?
Way too young. I mean, it was like reading, like, I mean, not even like Mad Magazine. This made Mad Magazine seem action-packed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Spy versus Spy, notwithstanding. But, I mean, it had that sort of like, it was more like, it's like if young me was reading National Lampoon. Where it's like, I don't, you know, sometimes the pictures are funny. You know, I mean, if you're reading National Lampoon, there's other stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff in here too. I mean, there are moments of weird perversion.
There are.
I've got to get back to my own kind. Although...
He's like, I got to get out of here. And then he sees Leah Thompson, you know, getting the bed ready.
Right.
And he's like, ooh. And it's like...
It's unusual for a creature who was unaware completely of humans before this point. Seems to just, he's just kind of rolling with it. He's going with the flow.
He jumped right in. He was like, well, I could maybe stay a little while.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's kind of funny because that is kind of true to the character.
Yeah.
But again, it's like those little moments where it's like, okay, now we don't know what to do, so we're going to, I don't know, we'll have a chase sequence, or we're going to spend, half of the movie or a third of the movie in a diner, and a very busy diner. That was the other thing. I was like, man.
A lot of people. Very popular diner.
And there's diner scenes in a lot of movies. You know, Superman 2's got a great one.
Yeah.
And
we should make an episode of just diner scenes.
Diner scenes. That could be our trope.
Yeah.
But, you know, this one I'm like, I think they ran out of script.
Yeah.
They're like, a lot of stuff here. And a lot of it is because the Doctor's transformation into Dark Overlord is happening.
Right.
So they got to allow for that. But the funny thing is most of his transformation is they cut away and then he's got, you know, makeup's a little worse. So it's like the classic Jekyll and Hyde transformation where he would like show something and then he's like, and then they cut away and he's like, you know.
But much, much slower. It's like, I'm transforming. Give me an hour. I'll be there.
I mean, it was a chance for them to bring back some quack food.
Yeah, thank goodness. I liked all the duck puns. And, you know, when he's doing the ultralight flyer, and there are a lot of duck hunters out there.
Oh, so many.
I can't imagine why there would be so many duck hunters in one singular location.
Every duck thing that they could think, you know, like any duck-based gag.
Yeah.
In the diner, they had like full roast duck, which I'm like, I've never been to a diner that had, you know, roast duck.
No.
At all. And I would not eat it.
No.
At a diner.
Also, one thing I'm remembering, one of the duck puns was the police officer. There were two police officers, and the one guy says, "Oh, it's like a duck hunt."
A manhunt for a duck.
It's a duck hunt.
Yes, please, don't start. Please.
And then the other police officers, you know, admonishing him for doing the duck pun. But it's late in the movie, you know, and it almost seemed like the script, whoever wrote that in, was trying to be in on the joke, but being so late in the movie, it's like, okay, you know, if you do this early, people go, okay. But this late after they've had, you know, 30 or 40 of them.
We've had an hour and a half of duck
You don't
puns.
get to do this joke.
And I don't want to bag on it because, I mean, there are aspects of it that are certainly like, I mean, it's fascinating to watch. And Jim Hill, who's a friend of the show, you know, on one of his podcasts, he had talked about Howard the Duck. I think he's a fan of this movie. I don't know that he considers it a great movie, but he often quotes the one line, which sort of sums up the movie.
This does not bode well.
It is actually, that is a pretty good line.
It is a very of the time movies, a very 80s movies, sets, costuming, music. But I also think we've seen Howard the Duck bubble up. We talked about it. We see him in James Gunn. We see him in What If. So we saw that Hulu was trying to do something. So could they bring Howard the Duck back in some way? Probably.
Yeah.
He definitely has a core base of fans.
Well, yeah. I mean, despite the flaws of the script of this movie, there was a clear presence with Howard the Duck in the fandom. Like I said, not having watched this movie, but I very much knew about it. And after watching Guardians of the Galaxy, when he had his little cameo at the end there, clearly, his presence lives on, and there's something kind of admirable about that.
And it's kind of interesting because in the history of Lucasfilm and in the history of ILM, they've got their hands all over this. Mm-hmm. Their end of it holds up. And yes. I mean that it's from a production standpoint and an effects standpoint. And it kind of reminds me of like another movie of George's, which was Radioland Murders, which is it's set in a world of, of radio, mm-hmm. When there was like, radio shows and radio dramas, and it's a murder mystery. But that was a big experimental movie for Lucasfilm because they were doing a lot of virtual sets. And it's like a lot of the stuff people didn't even know that they were doing because they were using it as a means of testing some new technology, which would, of course, evolve into like what he did with Phantom Menace and everything else. Right. So, it's one of those times where like, well, Lucas kind of made a movie testing some stuff and capabilities. And like we talked about, like all of the ducks that they built and stuff like that. And the fact that they wanted to make this an animated movie and then it ends up being Pixar. I mean, it's like, so it was sort of like the movie served more than one purpose. It was like, well, we gotta make a movie. I'd like to make a movie Howard the Duck, but we're also going to use it as a, sort of a testing ground for a lot of new things. So in that way, I mean, hey, we got Pixar.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It gave us a lot.
And it keeps on giving if you listen to that song.
How does it go again? Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck. Come on, sing it with me, Dan.
No.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, 40 years old. Still deeply weird, still a punchline, still here.
Yeah, 7 Razzies, accidental godfather of Pixar, MCU cameo veteran, and still has MCU plans.
So tell us, did you see Howard the Duck in 1986? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you discovering the full insanity of this feature for the first time? Let us know.
Does Howard deserve cult status? Or is the story around the movie better than the movie itself?
Drop it in the comments. And if that Howard the Duck song is stuck in your head, please let us know.
So give us a like, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends.
For now, I think it's time that we duck.
No.
We duck.
No.
Duck off.
No.
Off.
No.
Thank you for joining us at the Hubbubbery. Support the channel, share the episode, ring the notification bell, and remember, every bell eventually becomes a gong if you comment hard enough. Farewell, adventurers. Nigel Fiddlesticks departing at a brisk but theatrical pace. Gong!